was written by William Faulkner in 1850.
I've been thinking about wedding arrangements, you know.
What?
Well, marriage arrangements. Invites, dress, the menu, everything that involves a wedding.
For whose wedding?
Ours, of course. Do you really think I'm the kind of woman that only dates?
Emily, I'm not getting married.
But only.
I'm a man. I should be exploring. I love women. How do you expect me to take an arrow to the knee?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are now commencing case 2019. How does this defendant plead?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
Very well. I shall now call our first witness to testify.
The prosecution would like to call Mr. Toad, the first witness, to the stand. So, Mr. Toad, is it true that Miss Emily and Mr. Boomer were indeed a couple?
Well, I don't really know. I was seen some home around the house, but I wouldn't dare to choose in that relationship. Miss Emily was my employer after all. I had nothing to do with her personal matters.
How awfully professional of you. Yet, I can't shrug off the feeling that's a little bit suspicious. Regardless, what can you tell me about the night of October 20th, 1930?
Emily, you look lovely tonight.
So, go to the kitchen. I have no need for you anymore.
Right. So you can affirm that Miss Emily was indeed with Mr. Boomer the night he was poisoned?
Yes.
No further questions.
Does the defense attorney have any questions?
Yes. So, Mr. Toad, have you ever seen Miss Emily and Mr. Boomer fighting?
Oh,
How was their relationship like?
Miss Emily looks as if she really likes him.
So she was never hostile towards him?
No, not really.
No further questions.
Let's call our next witness to testify.
the prosecution would like to call Miss Emily's ex-China painting student, Mia. Granted you were her student, people can assume you know much about her, so there's no chance of hiding anything. In that case, what can you tell me about Miss Emily's behavior?
She was strange, to say the least. She never talked, only to pinpoint my stupidity by customers. And smile was not a vocabulary. She never did. And together with her husband was so boring, her house smell was horrible.
Here, Miss Emily, I hope this one pleases you.
This is the worst plate I've ever seen. Quit broccoli, Mia. Do you really think a man would like to marry such an untalented woman like you? Get it right.
So, would you say she was odd and aggressive?
Yes, definitely.
No further questions.
Does the defense attorney have any questions?
No.
Thank you. Let's call our next witness to testify.
I'd like to call Miss Catherine to the stand. So, Miss Catherine, were you friends with Miss Emily?
No, she didn't have any friends.
Why is that?
She was cold, rude, and unusually quiet. She wouldn't get out of the house, so we wouldn't meet often. I guess she was just recluse.
Yes?
Hi, Miss Emily. So, I'm Catherine from your neighborhood, and I was thinking if you would like to drop me for a cup of tea.
Why would I do this?
Maybe we could talk and catch up.
I do not wish to catch up with you. You may leave now.
But Miss Emily,
Leave. No further.
Does the prosecutor have any questions to the witness?
No.
Thank you. You may now leave. Let's call our next witness to testify.
The prosecution would like to call the coroner to the stand. Tell me, what effects does poison such as arsenic have on the body?
If large amounts of arsenic, which is ingested by humans, can cause very poisoning effect. Symptoms may include hair loss, cramping muscles, diarrhea, and convulsions.
Did Mr. Homer's autopsy reveal any signs of arsenic poisoning?
Arsenic disappears rapidly from blood, so measurements in it only tell you about recent high exposures, such as poisons. When I performed a blood test in Mr. Bear, I noticed high levels of arsenic in his bloodstream.
So, from your expert point of view, can you affirm that Mr. Homer was indeed poisoned with arsenic?
Yes.
Grand jury, I'm here to ask you a question. Do you really believe a man at the prime of his age would have voluntarily poisoned himself? He was a man with so many women at his feet, and yet he remained faithful to the love of his life.
Objection! He's trying to lead the jury on.
Deferred.
No further questions.
So, you concluded that Mr. Homer was poisoned, correct?
Yes.
Do you have any matters to prove that Miss Emily was indeed the one who poisoned Mr. Homer?
No.
So, Mr. Homer could have been poisoned by anyone, or even poisoned himself, correct?
I suppose so.
Grand jury, there is no procedure that determines if Miss Emily was indeed the one who poisoned Mr. Homer. It could have been anyone, even the quiet observant has been with her for many years.
Objection! How absurd. Amateur. The guilty always lie in order to get away with their crimes. The defense attorney's accusations have no foundation whatsoever.
Where do you think you are, prosecutor? If you haven't realized, you're in a court. So, if you continue with this despicable behavior, I'll be obliged to make you leave. Are we understood?
Of course, Your Honor.
No further questions.
Let's call our next witness to the stand. You may leave.
The prosecution would like to call the detective responsible for the case to the stand. What have you concluded from all of this?
It is not that different from what you must have already heard. We investigated and concluded Miss Emily was the one who poisoned Mr. Barrett.
How did you conclude that?
We interrogated Miss Emily, interrogated the people living around her, and decided she was the one who poisoned her.
No further questions.
So, you have been in this field for quite some time, correct?
Yes, for over 20 years.
And in those many years, I'm sure you have seen someone come alive, right?
Crimes motivated by love or envy are more common than you actually think. After all, love and hate are two sides of the same coin, aren't they?
Yes, indeed. No further questions.
Thank you. You may leave. I will now be calling a final witness to testify.
The prosecution would like to call Miss Emily to the stand. Miss Emily, did you love your husband?
Yes, obviously. Why wouldn't I?
Did you guys ever fight?
No, we didn't.
No further questions.
So, Miss Emily, what was your relationship like with Mr. Tillman?
Well, I was his lawyer and he was a servant. What more to be to it?
Don't you think that maybe he harbours feelings for you?
I don't think so. As I just said, he was just a servant.
But he could have feelings, right?
I guess so. It's none of my business.
Miss Emily, I don't like Homer.
So what? I don't really need your opinion, Tom. You're just a servant.
Well, she ain't gonna do anything about it, then I will.
Thank you. You may leave. We will now start our final considerations.
Grand jury, I'm here to tell you that you absolutely cannot let Miss Emily go free. She has been evading taxes and killed her fiancé. Her house has smelled like a corpse for a month before we even discovered his body. How can we let someone like that live with us in our neighborhoods? How can we let someone like that have contact with her children?
Grand jury, I am going to start with the question. Do you really think that a woman who loved her fiancé would be able to kill him? Let's imagine Tom, her lawyer employee, is thrown out of the spotlight and suddenly substituted by Homer, the guy who she loved. What do you think a jealous man would be capable of?
Alright, Mia, how are you? Good, and you?
Fine, but have you heard the news?
What news?
She was found not guilty.
Emily?
Yes, and now they're investigating Tom for the murder.
My God. Well, if you think about it, it does make some sense, since there were only those two that night.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I'll see you later.